Why was this book written?
So I wanted to tell the story. There's a stigma in the Indian community about adoption.
Wow,
It wasn't easy.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I really love being Indian. I love being Punjabi. I don't think I've changed that much. We went to India for the first time. Like these words that they used, like the coup and tibik.
How does networking help any business?
It's good to have a presence in the community, especially when you're giving to the community.
Do you think these award shows really help the community?
Why not celebrate people that have been successful in either business or sports or, philanthropy or whatever they're giving awards for? Why not?
Do you think Nanak Foods would ever think about the startup culture in Canada? Because Canada needs a startup culture here.
Yeah, it's interesting because that you say that because for example, San Francisco, there's a lot of Indians there and they're all quite a few in IT. When I decided to go to India, I go up, did my darshan at Hemkund Sahib. When I come back down, it's 4 days later and I had a call for a 4-day-old baby. There's a chapter called Miracle. It was
Raji, how are you?
I'm good.
Ki chal hai life? How is your life going on?
Life is good. It's
Life
a little
is good.
slowed down now.
Slow down?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's slowed down? What's happening?
I just went on a big trip and, I know Christmas is coming, but yeah.
Talk about the travel. I actually, when I was coming here, I read somewhere that you travel over 50 countries.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yeah, I did a challenge to myself, 50 countries by age 50, but now I'm at 70.
How many? You were 70?
70 countries now. I just finished the 70th.
70 countries.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience of traveling, because it is like, when I see someone traveling so much, the first question is, okay, why? What is motivating you to travel? And what do you learn from traveling?
I like to go to places that are not similar to Canada or America. So I just like to see people living a different way of life, especially exploring things that are very different to me because I'm born and brought up here, had a sort of life of luxury, if you want, and going to places like Cambodia or Africa. These are just so interesting to me to see their way of life.
But when do you go there alone or with the friends, group of friends?
It's mixed. It's mixed. I've gone alone, and I've gone with my children a lot. I've gone with my husband, so depending.
When you travel alone, let's say, isn't it tough that time? Like, don't you feel uncomfortable? You know what? Okay, I'm going here. I'm going out from my home. Isn't it?
No, but you have to be careful. So as a woman traveling, you have to be very vigilant about where you go, what time you go, what kind of rides you take, things like that. Because I have done South Africa, Johannesburg by myself, then I went to Zimbabwe and Botswana. But you end up meeting people. When you're alone, it's the best way to meet somebody. If you're in a group or if you're with another person, you tend to just talk to each other. But when you're alone, somehow, you end up meeting people.
What is your favorite thing that you have learned traveling to these 70 countries? सब तो बढ़िया चीज़ ला दियो कि what this has really come to me from traveling.
I think I've learned that there's Indians in every country I've been to. I like exploring things like, okay, where's the Gurdwara in this city? Off the beaten path place. I think people are the same but very different. So I don't know, like everybody's trying to make a buck, everybody's trying to make a living, it's like just where I was in the Middle East, it was not Middle East, sorry, Gulf countries. There is, I was telling you this earlier, but there is not a single person that's an Arab, that's a local, that works in any field.
Okay.
Whether it's taxis or hotels or restaurants or shopping malls, they're all people from abroad. And that just opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, anybody can go to Qatar and Dubai and start working and just have that experience of living in that country. But at the end of the day, everybody's just there to make a living.
Right. So, I read that you are a director of corporate management in Nanak Foods, right?
It's Director of Community Engagement
Community
and
engagement.
Philanthropy. Yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. What does that mean? Explain us a little bit about
That means
that job role.
Nanak Foods is very like we try to support community.
Right.
So whether it's a like a festival, like a film festival, or a Pangra festival, anything in the arts. So we try and support it, because without the arts, what's our lives? I mean, you go. For example, even if it's a concert you're supporting, you go home after work, you're listening to the radio, you're listening to music, and you're watching TV when you're sitting on your couch. So you have to support the arts in order for, the arts to grow. And companies like us, we have to be part of that support. Like, we have to give something in order for them to progress.
You know what? I can definitely tell that you are not doing all this community work just to do it, just to show it. I know that you're not doing it because when I was talking to someone today on the phone, she said to me, she's like, kind of, can you ask her what motivates her to do all the community work that she's doing, and she's doing it from heart and she knows it. She's like, can you really ask her, like, what is your motivation? Because this woman, she was like, this is really inspiring to her. She's like, I want to be at that place that I also tell my mind to do it for others all the time when you have, money, in the situation, and you can do it for others. But what motivates you? So let's say you are comfortable. You have things going on in life, right? And you don't even have to be a part of all that. But what's your motivation here?
I think it's sort of built in because, excuse me, my father was a very social worker type of guy. That's where I get emotional, sorry.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's just built in somehow.
So you want to be a part of that?
No, what it is that when I was younger, and my sister and we were in high school, we did a lot of volunteering just like that, because Dad was doing whatever. It just sort of a learned behavior. It's not like we thought about it. We just wanted to do it. There was a walkathon. You're going to raise this much money. We're going to walk to the Queen Elizabeth Park from all the way from New Westminster. We did things like that just because it was going to be helping the community in some way. I know giving back is like such a cliche, but we didn't even think of it like that. We just thought, oh, we can do this. Oh, this cause, just let's do it. So Karen and I, my sister, we used to do a lot of that when we were younger, and it just carried on in our adult lives.
Right, because even during my whole learning of being in corporate, when I look at these companies, I'm like, what, they are just doing it because it's a part of their program that they have to do the corporate responsibility thing, and many of them don't do it from heart, right? But from what I understood when I was going through, some interviews, and when I was talking to some of my friends about you, they told me, okay, what excites them more about you is that how can you do it from the heart? Like, it's really amazing to see that, a person like that.
Yeah, I created this little title, basically community engagement and philanthropy. I've created that because we do get a lot of emails. Can you support this? Can you do that? And there was nobody to do that. And I said, I want to do that. So I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I wouldn't just cut a check and say, here, like, do this. I would get involved in the organization.
Right.
To the point where one organization, I guess even two, I became a board of director of them. So it's interest. It's supporting those causes that I'm interested in, and also just making sure that we're doing something that's going to help every walk of life in our city. So now, I mean, there's a lot more concentration on hospitals because of all the situations with Surrey and, all the issues in Surrey Memorial. So, and then the cancer. So we're really heavily, donating to those causes, but we're still not going to leave the arts.
Right. Let's go back a little bit. You are from an immigrant family?
Yes.
Your parents moved from India?
Yes.
Where did they move from?
Punjab.
Punjab they moved from. And you were born here?
Yes.
Okay. So when you are in an immigrant family, what situations you face as an immigrant when you come here? So you were born here, right?
I was born here, but my father came, and mom and dad both came in 1960. Dad had a turban, couldn't get a job. white people were racist, so you just sort of had to adjust accordingly.
Right.
So, he cut his hair and he got a job, and then he ended up like becoming like whatever job he got was insurance, but then he sort of did a lot of social work because he started bringing over many of his family members.
Right.
And he got so much experience of filling out the forms and going to the immigration office. In those days, you had to go to an office.
Right.
He became friendly with the immigration people, and he ended up becoming that person trying to bring people over. He brought thousands of people over. He helped so many people.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then growing up, it was a Punjabi lifestyle at home. Then you go outside, and then you live that Canadian lifestyle.
So you spoke Punjabi at home?
Yes.
So you spoke Punjabi at home, but English outside?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was like, I mean, like it's not, we don't call it Indian food. We call it roti. Like, what are we having?
Roti,
like
yeah.
that was our life at home. It was a very Punjabi lifestyle. Gurdwara every Sunday. Dad was a secretary in New Westminster. That was like our community center. Go and do some seva and just, have langar and come home.
What kind of, jobs or businesses your family has been in back from those days? Were you in business or job, like your family?
No, job.
Jobs. What kind of jobs did they do?
My dad was in life insurance. My mom worked in a nursery. She was a working mom all the way through up until she was about 50 years old. Yeah, and I have two sisters who, one is a hairstylist, one is working in Fraser Health in, she's going to kill me because I'm going to get her title wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll come to me.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
When you're growing in this immigrant family, huh, and you were watching your parents working all the time, probably they were also working all the time. Because I'm working all the time. My kid looks at me, I'm like, bro, I don't have an option. I
Yeah.
have to work, right?
Yeah.
Probably same thing might have happened in your family. What were you looking, how were you looking at them that time? Ki soch rahe thi? Did you really want to do something for them? You're like, you know what? They are raising us, they're doing so much. What were the thoughts?
I don't think you just getting on with life, like you're saying to your son,
Right.
I have to get on with it.
Yeah.
Everybody was just so busy. Like we all worked. My kids hate it when I tell this story, but it's true. Like, my dad you said business, he had take-off for the farms, right? So he
Right.
would, gather people in we had a station wagon, so push everybody in there, fit as many people in as you can, and take them to the farm and pick blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, that kind of thing. He would do that every summer. And so me and my sisters were part of picking berries for many, many years, up until we were about 16 years old. Then we got jobs. So that was like a family affair, like going every summer for 2 months. And a lot of kids my age did that.
Yeah.
It was not even like a second thought. We didn't like it, but we did it.
Yeah, we all have to do it to
Yeah.
be there where we want to, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any goals or a kind of mindset that you always carried from, when you were in your 20s to till date? Something that always remains with you?
Yeah.
Or did it keep changing with time?
No, I don't think I've changed that much. I really love being Indian. I love being Punjabi. So I try to keep my culture as much as possible, try to instill it in my children as much as possible. So I always, I never had an opportunity to travel to India until I was 19. Maybe that's why I felt like traveling a lot, because I didn't travel when we were kids. Like, nobody went on planes and things like that. And it was very difficult to go to India when I was growing up. It was expensive. We were trying to bring family over. It wasn't as common as it is now.
Right.
So, my sister was 18, I was 19, older sister was married. So we went to India for the first time. Fell in love with it, was there for 3 months. Dad and mom took us all over. My dad was driving. And, it was one of those things like you finally have seen what you've heard about all your life. Like these words that they used, like the coup and tibbe, because some of my family's from Rajasthan, is like, okay, this is what they were talking about. All these common words we heard, we never knew what they were until we went to India.
Right.
So I still have that love for India. That never changed. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your book because, when I was doing my search, I read about it everywhere. I was listening to these YouTube podcasts that you did before. you spoke a lot of, a lot about your, adoption process and, your kids as well, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can, if I can get through it.
We will get through it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I wrote the book because I kept talking about the story about how I found my son. So that story was so interesting for everybody. And then I did have people, you should write about that, you should write about that. Then I did, and I wrote about it. And then, maybe I'll tell you a little tidbit of what actually happened.
Yeah, I want to know why was this book written? This is like you wrote this
Yeah.
book, and I'm sure, I always think being a creative person, I'm like, okay, if someone is actually writing something, they have to have a lot of things going on in their mind, like emotions, because then only you can put it into the words.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell the story. The other thing is there's a stigma in the Indian community about adoption. So I wanted to get that out.
Okay.
I wanted to bring that to the forefront. And there's a lot of couples I've met over the years who ask me about adoption, and they want to know how to do things and, like a process. And a lot of hindrance to them is their other family members saying, don't do it.
अच्छा ऐसे मैं पूछना है कि why is that? क्यों
Because
लगता है लोगों को कि
Indians have this, not all, I'm not painting everybody with the same brush, but
Yes.
they have this mindset that it has to be blood, right? That's why you see a lot of people adopting their brother's children or this or that. That's what it is.
But it's interesting that we say this because I always feel I'm like when you get married, you don't get married to a blood relation. When you make friends, they're not your blood relations. I mean, this is actually amazing at the same time. I can actually relate when you say this. But yeah, I mean, yes, people say that same blood da hona chahiye. I know, I can.
Yeah, but thankfully nobody in my family said that, so I didn't have that issue. My mother-in-law was great, my parents, of course, no problem. So when I decided to go to India, oh yeah, I took a power of attorney of my husband so that I could go there on my own. So I went there on my own. I was in Delhi, went to several hospitals, gave my name for, like a baby, an abandoned child, they call it over there, right?
Right.
So went to several hospitals in 3 weeks, and then I went and took a trip to Hemkund Sahib. I thought I'll do this pilgrimage while I'm waiting in Delhi. And I talk about all this in the book. And then I go up, did my darshan at Hemkund Sahib.
Hanji.
When I come back down, it's 4 days later after I came back. And I had a call for a 4-day-old baby. That's why I wrote the book. So there's a chapter called Miracle. Yeah. And he's my miracle.
It's amazing how you say it.
Can you
I have goosebumps. It's amazing to hear someone being so honest. See where you are right now in life, from where I can see. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Right. You're doing so well in life. Like you are at a place mentally and even the mindset wise, you're doing amazing. But still you're humble. Simplicity ke nahi hai. How do you maintain all this?
That's what I said. I don't think I changed from my 20s.
But don't you get carried away? I mean, with the kind of
The-
people you meet.
No. Then you don't meet those people as often. The ones that are, I don't know how to say this, but I have friends that I've had for like 20, 30, 40 years. Like I haven't changed my friends either. So I don't know, like maybe we don't meet those circles as much.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
I notice every time, I speak a little about adoption or, these kind of, why does it make you so emotional?
Now you're going to get me emotional again. Because, getting pregnant, having a baby is pretty normal and simple. This was not normal and simple. So I get emotional because it was like I'm happy.
That is amazing. And you know what? Thanks for saying that because a lot of people think, even I used to think that way. Like, I still think this way. This will change today. I know that. So, I was discussing with my wife that because when she had like when we had the first baby, I'm like, I saw her going through the body change and I'm all right. I'm like, you know what? How do you feel about the second baby? She's like, I don't even know. It's tough. I'm like, why don't we adopt a kid? Right? Because, we want to adopt, like, why don't we adopt a girl? We have a guy, let's adopt a girl. Right? That would be easier. That's what I said. I'm like, that would be easier. Now tell me, wow,
It wasn't easy.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Like, the name of the book is Love at First Sight, because when I started writing about Kirti, because one part of the book is about Kabir and one part is Kirti. When we found Kirti, she was 3 days old. I saw her, started crying, and I couldn't control. And then our cousin was with us, and he said, I've never seen love at first sight until I've seen this moment, right? So I named the book Love at First Sight because that was actually, somebody said that to me. And then, of course, Kabir is the miracle child. And it's so funny because my kids are very, they joke about a lot of things. And he'll sign, Mother's Day cards and all these cards from your miracle child or from your miracle son. So, they make fun of it too.
We see it in the movies that, when you adopt the kids and the kids grow up and they come to know we are adopted, or maybe in the young age they come to know, do they say, you know what, I want to go back or talk to my parents who are my actual parents, or do they start exploring their, past life?
Thankfully, no.
No.
I don't think both my kids have a care in the world of knowing that.
Right.
Because we're their parents.
Yeah, because it's love.
And I think, I don't know if this is true, but I feel just because of our Indian ways and our Indian mentality, maybe they are not missing anything. And maybe, I don't know if I should say this, but I've read a lot of books and I've read a lot of things about people. Maybe Goras don't have that kind of relationship with their kids. I don't know. And maybe that's why they're going to look for their birth mothers and fathers. I don't see my kids ever doing that.
Right. When we talk about adoption, now we know that, okay, that's not easy for sure, right? Because again, you have to think so much when you're doing when you're bringing someone into your family.
Yeah.
But why do you think this is a stigma, I would say, or this is kind of looked not the same in an Indian, or is it the same case these days? Because the way I look at it now, maybe it's me, I don't know. I'm like, it is absolutely okay to adopt, and because you will still, love them the same way that you would love anyone else who you really love. Simple, right? But do you think this is a situation the same way that, okay, people still really care about adoption? Or things have changed in past 30,
Things
40
have
years?
changed, but there's like very conservative thinking, and I don't know any of those type of people anymore.
Right.
That's what happens, right? You end up going into the circles where you're like-minded people. So there are probably lots of people that still are conservative thinking like that.
So you are a part of Nanak Food, obviously. You work there. I know you take care of, the corporate part of it. Did you really wanted to do that, or did you have something else in the mind too? That, okay, you know what, I could have my individual thing going on as well. Did you always wanted to be a part of that situation, or was it that, okay, because the business has to be taken care within the family by more people? When you're doing business, your family should be the first support, from what I feel.
No, it's true, but I was in the travel industry. I was
Right.
in like a different, like it was called precious metals, foreign exchange for many years. Then I moved to travel industry, and I could have stayed in there, but I didn't. It didn't make sense for me to stay in a job when I could do something with our own company.
Right.
And I'm not there on a daily basis. I'm not there for the day to day at all.
Right.
It's always out. I'm always out for the company. So I really like what I do because it's such a flexible job. Yeah.
So you go out, meet people, build connections.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, because I am sure that you do a lot of networking. How does networking help any business? Because a lot of people ignore networking. They're like, yeah, you know what, I don't want to go there because, we have to talk to so many people and, it's not comfortable sometimes.
It's good to have a presence in the community. especially when you're giving to the community. It's good to have a face to the name.
Right.
So, I mean, like, for example, Surrey Board of Trade people, like, they're everywhere, right? It's and everybody knows them and everybody respects them. And that's what I think all companies they should actually be out there, not just, their name logo on the logo or their logo on whatever board. There should be a person present to show that, hey, I'm supporting this thing.
Right. You see a lot of, women and men immigrants come to Canada. What would you advise them if they want to start a business? See, you're from a business family, you are doing business right now. Key advice karonge to any woman like who has a mindset but is worried, okay, where to start? Where do they start?
Where do they start? That's a tough question, but basically you have to really have the guts to go through with a business, and you have to have the capacity to accept a fail too. So that sometimes is very difficult for people. So just believe in your goal of what you want to do, and give everything you have towards that goal.
See, people only see Nanak Foods, right? They don't see the work done behind the scenes, right? So when your husband comes home, obviously, don't think about today in general as well. Like, let's go back a little, 20 years ago. When you're coming back from work, what is the thought process? Okay, what's going on? The discussions you have at home, because you were growing the business that time. Key discussions हो रहे हैं ऐसे
They were like, the discussions back then are not much different than they are now, because right now we're in the process of building a new factory, and that time we were building that factory up. So there's a little bit of changes because the factory is bigger, and we have so many like key people in place to take care of a lot of things that Gurpreet and our partner Vineet used to take care of.
Right.
So there's less of that hands-on, but there's a lot of pressures that they're facing every day.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason behind their success?
I think it's their partnership. Because they give, they do two different things, and that together, and they discuss everything together, and bounce ideas off of each other and accept each other's opinions and things like that. I think that type of partnership, because all partnerships can not be the best, right?
Of course,
But that partnership is what's making it work.
How do you decide the core of the company? I always believe the business has to have a strong core, right? This is my understanding, a little bit of understanding what I have. To see core nu strong ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ company ਦੇ? Like, how have you done it? Like, when I say core, it means like the people you work with, the people around you who make decisions for the company,
Yeah.
right? Even the corporate decisions, even taking your name out there, you are in every household, you know that.
Yeah.
Like, Nanak Food is everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So who is taking the decisions for this? And to strong ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ? Like, it's, I don't like, from where I look, I think it's not easy.
No. I can't take any credit for all of this. Because,
No, of course.
Yeah,
Because we are talking
because
as a team.
Yeah, the company, the way the structure of the company is, and the way everybody's been placed now, and that didn't happen overnight. It's like, over 25 years. So, it was, it grew, but it grew with such, the right people to make it grow. I mean, we have one person who is our R&D, manager. He's got a doctorate in food sciences. I mean, people like that. That's why we're at the levels that we're at. Our management team itself, everybody takes care of a different department. Yeah.
You guys got Diljit Dosanjh as a brand ambassador. Last time I was like, when I was going home, like, why didn't I ask Gurpreet about Diljit Dosanjh? How did you bring him on board? And why him?
I'll take a little credit for that.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, he was filming a movie out here at that time. Can't remember the name, but it was when he and our friend Diljit Thind is the one who introduced us. But when he, and this is what Diljit said, Diljit Dosanjh is at this level. He's going to go up here, and he was right on the money. like he was, because at that time, this was in 2020 when we had that first ad done, and it was one of those things that he was already here for the movie. They said, if you guys want to get an ad done, they asked us if you want to get an ad done. They've got the whole crew, and we said yes, and that's how that first one happened.
And then it continued. Then
Then
that's how it is.
then we had a 2-year contract with him, and then 2 years later we renewed it.
Very nice.
Let's see if it's going to happen again.
Yeah, but I mean, it gives, a kind of a amazing image to, the
Yeah.
whole brand.
Yeah.
Obviously, no person can take the hard work that you guys did on Nanak Food, right?
Yeah.
But again, there is a brand image to it now. as
Oh
well.
yeah, look at that. I mean, he's in every airport you go into, I think in North America, not every, I'm sorry, at the bigger airports, like of course Toronto, Montreal, I believe Calgary and Vancouver, and then Newark, LA, San Francisco. Like when you go down the escalators, you'll see Diljit Dosanjh there holding
true.
something.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Do you think these award shows really help the community?
The
Or they are
awards
just
shows.
there?
The awards shows started when there was awards like being given, and you would never see a brown person there.
Okay.
So these were sort of like, that's just the way things were. Let's say 20 years ago, and then when one of the first ones I think was Mefil or something, and they did an awards night downtown Vancouver, and it was just nice to be there because you're seeing like-minded, very successful Indians, and that's how this whole thing started. It might be like maybe everybody thinks there's too many and overkill, this, that, but why not celebrate people that have been successful in either business or sports or philanthropy or whatever they're giving awards for? Why not?
That is true.
Yeah.
What do you think should be changed? Like when you look at Surrey, you are here in Surrey, right? If there is something that needs to be changed in Surrey or the environment we live in, what would you change? ਕੀ ਬਦਲਾਵ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਗੇ ਸਰੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ when you look at
I don't know. Like I think Surrey is like quite a beautiful city, diverse. Of course, Indians are, I would say, the majority. I wish things were better for students. I don't know what we can do for that, but maybe even in our Seva Foundation, we're going to try and do some programming for them. I don't know which way yet, but I feel like those are the things that can be improved.
I like how you say it because a lot of people, I get so many messages about this. You can do something for the students, and I think the same. I'm like, okay, what can I do for the students? I do have a platform where I go and talk, and they share how they feel.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, what more? And they are like, can you? This lady messaged me. She's like, can you talk to the government and tell them that they are unsafe, the students. Someone needs to stand up for them. I'm like, you know what, I can try. I don't know how will I do that, but I will try. What do you think about that? Like these situations?
Yeah, I think whatever we can do, we got to do.
Yeah.
Right? So we've just, I think you might know that we have a foundation now
Hanji.
under Seva. So we are going to start programming for inequity in women and possibly for the students. But I mean, these are the meetings that we're going to have in January to figure out what directions we're going to go in. But we're going to try.
Raji, when you meet these lot of people, you obviously in the award shows or in general life as well, I'm sure they have, there are different kinds of people. They will always try to put their best behavior in front of you because of the way you are, or because you're Nanak Foods, or because, you are big in Surrey. How do you filter them?
I say hi to everybody.
Okay, that is one thing. You say hi to everybody, but is there a filter in mind that, okay, you know what, some people could be, they are just nice because they think that they have to be nice.
It's okay. I mean, it's not going to hurt me to say hi to anybody. It's not going to hurt me to have a little conversation with somebody. And especially at these awards shows, it's just you're hi and then on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Whoever you sit with is the people you end up talking to.
That is true.
So
you have a small circle of friends that you only, talk to.
No. Not only. I talk to everybody. I actually like people. Like I like going out and talking to people.
No, that
Like
is
you
amazing.
do too.
I
See?
love it. I love it. You really cook?
Yeah, you haven't seen my Instagram? I make recipes for Nanak Foods.
So those are your
Some
recipes?
of them.
अच्छा मैं तो एक गल पूछदा I don't know when I spoke to you last time and Gurpreet ji said कि ਅਸੀਂ A&W ਦਾ burger launch ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ right I went back home I even messaged you मैं burger because I'm not the drive through
Yeah,
guy
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't because I'm like always on calorie count so I started eating and I was telling myself bro you know what calories पता नहीं कितनी जा रही हैं and I asked someone at A&W I'm like how many calories does this have all the recipes ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਫੂਡ ਦੀ and that is you
No. So the recipes on the Instagram and TikTok and all that, there's a mix of people. There's collaborators, there's an in-house people that we have, and there's me. And, the in-house people, they record for me. So right here, I always do my recipes right there. So,
ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ 버ਗਰ ਖਾਦਾ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿ I was like this is something to do with Maggie because when I had Maggie first time
Yeah.
I got addicted and when I had this burger first time I got addicted to the
but
burger
this is better for you. The
Okay.
burger is full of vegetables and 4 different cheeses, including paneer. No, but the other thing is, like, okay, by the way, my recipes are not, I didn't make the burger recipe. That's the R&D. So and you probably talked to Gurpreet, like from the time of the idea, the concept of a product, of an item, it's like 2 years before it goes on the shelf. So that's not me. I'm not doing that. But what I'm doing is taking paneer or one of our appetizers or desserts and doing something with it. So basically, there's a lot of fusion recipes because young people, they don't want to know how to make palak paneer, matar paneer, and whatever. They want to know, what can I do with this paneer? Instead of tofu, maybe you use paneer. And they want to be having a quick recipe. So I create recipes with paneer in mind or ghee or something like that
fine
for younger audiences or anybody because we're living in Canada, so this for North America. Everybody in North America, you tend to end up wanting something a little fusion. You're not, everybody's not eating dal roti sabji every day anymore.
that is true yeah I like the addiction but when I had this I'm like this is addictive I wanted to have it again and again and again but then I'm like no I'm on a diet no kind of don't do that but addiction तो है
Have
कि
it without the bun.
that okay
Not at A&W. I'll give you some right
yeah
now.
because the tikki is the recipe
The tikki is the best thing.
yes because ਉਹਦਾ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ taste ਸੀਗਾ I
Yeah.
was like okay this is
The tikki is
addictive
the best thing.
yeah
Yeah. So.
मेरे ना while I was talking to you question आया दिमाग I always feel that Canada is like for any startup I've never seen a lot of startup programs here इतने startup programs है नहीं they say they are there but they only give contracts or I would say the support to the people who are already there
Yeah.
not to someone who's actually starting
Yeah.
do you think Nanak Foods would ever think about the startup culture in Canada because Canada needs a startup culture here it's all about I always feel it's all about real estate construction mortgages why can't we bring in technology here
Yeah.
why can't it be a startup culture
Yeah, it's interesting because that you say that because, like, for example, San Francisco, like, there's a lot of Indians there, and they're all like quite a few in IT,
Right.
and the kids that we've cousins there, and the kids that graduate, they think about what direction they're gonna go. One goes to Yahoo, one goes to Google, this that. We don't have that culture here.
Right.
So kids that are born and brought up here, like. My son's a lawyer. There's doctors. There's a lot of doctors nowadays. These are the careers: doctors, nurses, lawyers, real estate, because that's the culture around us.